Ford Pro FinSimple offers flexible financing solutions for all kinds of businesses, whether you're an electrician or run an organic farm. Because we know that your business demands financing that works when you need it, like when your landscaping company lands a new account. Wherever you see your business headed, Ford Pro FinSimple can help you pursue it with financing solutions today. Get started at fordpro.com/financing.
What's up, everybody? You are now listening to the Success Playbook Podcast, hosted by none other than your girl, Chanel S. Reynolds. Today's segment will be on the art of taking L's. Now, this is the type of episode where I need you to pull out a pen, a piece of paper, and we are going to lock in and learn a little bit today, okay? This is a highly developmental conversation, so I'm really excited to have it with you today. As you know, the thing that really gives me my secret sauce with this podcast is, yes, we talk about sports, we talk to sports leaders, people working in the background, athletes, celebrities, etc. But this podcast is also firmly rooted in the aspect of career navigation. So I'm excited to bring those life hacks to you today. And today's episode is brought to you by none other than State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Now let's dig in, shall we? Now, the first thing I want to address is how skills and experiences can translate to your career success. Now, I know that I have a lot of listeners out there who are either currently in college or recently graduated, or they're about to graduate, and a lot of them just so happen to be student athletes. So I really want to drive in the fact that what you all have learned as student athletes, or even just folks who have previously played sports in the past, those are transferable skills that can be applied to your career moves in the future. One thing that I actually had the pleasure of being on a panel yesterday, and someone asked me, they were a student athlete, and they asked me, hey, I didn't have time to have a lot of internships. How can I, as a student athlete, bring those skills to a company? And I told that person, hey, there are positions that jobs are distinctly looking for people who actually used to play sports, former student athletes, to apply for, because they know that as a student athlete, you have acquired many skills that are going to translate well on the job. Here's what I mean. So as a student athlete, you are learning work-life balance, right? You're learning how to manage your schedule. You're learning how to manage school, as well as practices, as well as your meets, as well as matchups, all the above. So that is a life hack that people are really expecting recent graduates to already know how to do, right? You should already know. They're expecting you to walk in the door and know how to effectively manage your new schedule, right? Secondly, they're looking for individuals who are highly coachable. So skills that, even if you weren't a student athlete, I'm talking to you, just if you've been a part of any type of organized thing, right? It could be a club, it can be a group, something you did on campus, a sorority, fraternity. When you're in these groups, you are acquiring skills such as collaboration, such as teamwork, such as coachability. That is a huge one, right? How effective are you at receiving feedback and applying that feedback to your next step? So employers are really looking for those transferable skills, right? They're looking for those transferable skills for you to bring in from whatever it is that you experience, whether it be if you played a sport, if you do some sort of outdoor activity. How can that be transitioned? How can that be translated into your next career move? And one thing that I'm going to tell you is become a master at clearly explaining those transferable skills. Now, it's a task, y'all. It's pretty hard. There are definitely things that you can articulate that you experience over here that may not seem like it has anything to do with what you're applying for, but I promise you, some of the skills that you learned at your previous place, whether it be a previous employer or as a student athlete or as someone who was a part of some of these organized groups, sororities, fraternities, clubs, etc., those are things that you can use to apply to your career moves to achieve ultimate career success. All right, number 2, finding your inspiration. So in the journey of life, you are going to fail at something. Yes, I said it, and I'm bold about it. You are going to fail at something. You're not going to be a master at every single little thing. There's going to be something that you will fumble. So in those moments, Right. Just get past the fact that you're going to fumble, right? That's for my type A people. That's for my former athletes out there who are just such perfectionists. That's for the people who just have to be in control of everything. Just sit and rest in the fact that you're going to take an L. You're going to take an L, and that's okay. That's okay. Because what are you going to do? Are you going to allow this L to make you bitter or make you better? So that leads me to my next point, finding your inspiration. So one of the key things that I always emphasize to other professionals is the fact that before you get too far along on your journey, you need to know your why. The reason why knowing your why is important is because, like I said, you are going to fail at something. You're going to take an L. So in the midst of, yes, I want you to feel the feels. I want you to process it. I want you to maybe take a breather, pause a little bit. But knowing your why will help you to process the L quicker and to get right back on your feet. Knowing your why will allow you to get back on your feet quicker and to hit the ground running and to get closer to your next step. So finding your inspiration, knowing your why. I want you to sit down and take a moment, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and write down the things as to why is it that you do what you do. I know for me personally, I am in this diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and I know that translates not only in my 9-to-5 with what I do in the sports industry, but that also translates with what I do outside of the sports industry. While I'm creating content, I make content that's tailored for historically marginalized groups, particularly for Black people in sports, even more particularly for Black women in sports. So I know my why. My why is to be a voice of the people. And the thing about having your inspiration, finding your inspiration, knowing your why, is because that is going to allow you to get out of bed
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
you're going to feel like sleeping in. Knowing your why is what's going to re-energize you after you took a gut punch from that L that you took. Knowing your why is going to allow you to get up swinging when you've been knocked to the ground. So make sure that you find your inspiration and know your why. It is important for you to know this again, because that is going to help you remain motivated, right? You're not always going to feel motivated and feel happy and feel energetic and, oh, I just want to jump out of bed and conquer the world. You're not always going to feel that way. So you need to know your why. And then also you need to have the discipline to keep going. You need to have the discipline to get up and walk. You're going to have the discipline to proceed on your journey. And that comes from discipline, honestly, comes from knowing your why. Discipline is way deeper than motivation. Motivation is nice, it's cute, glitz, glamour. Hey, I'm motivated, right? That's what all the Instagram reels got, the motivation, the people working out. Great. But discipline is gritty. Discipline is getting up at 5 a.m. when you don't want to. Why? Because you know the end result is XYZ. Because you know the end result is your why. So you need to find your inspiration. You need to remain disciplined. Your discipline is going to fuel your motivation. And ultimately, y'all, you need to know your why. A little sidebar too. I want to talk a little bit about confidence. Because when you take a L, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I wrote a whole book on it. All right, so let's take a little step back. The art of taking L's is a term that I coined, a term that is sitting in the office of the Federal Reserve, United States, whatever, and it got my name on it because I paid for the trademarks. It's something that I thought of, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. And if you ever hear anybody else talk about it, you know that they got it from me. But the art of taking L's, honestly, it's just about the way that you perceive your failure and how you move after, right? Are you going, like I said, are you going to stay on the ground, or are you going to get up swinging? And the one thing that is associated with taking an L is it may eat away at some of your confidence. Because why? Nobody wants to take an L, especially if it is a public L. It can be embarrassing. And here's the thing, y'all, and I write about this in the book. People who are highly ambitious, people who people who always raise their hand to put me in the game, coach, put me in the game, coach, put me in the game. When you get out there, you got more playing time. Therefore, you're more prone to fouls. You're more prone to injury. You're more prone to have embarrassing moments or moments that are not ideal because you're usually the one that's throwing your hand up in the air to participate in the madness because you're that highly ambitious. And that's okay. People who are ambitious are more prone to taking L's, and it may be embarrassing. However, it is important for you to establish your confidence because your confidence may take a hit or two on this journey, but you're going to need to know that, okay, although I may have taken this L, I'm not alone. Because some of the greatest creators on this earth, some of the greatest CEOs have taken L's. Michael Jordan was denied a chance on the basketball team before he got a big break. Yes, the Michael Jordan. So examples like that continue to keep me going, right? And he talks about how he's failed thousands of times compared to those other wins that he have had. And those other wins far outweigh the thousands of times that he's failed. All right, number 3, mindset shift. I'm gonna challenge you all to begin to shift your mindset and understand that as young professionals, as people who are on this journey, you are now a leader. Congratulations. Whether you want to be that or not, you are now a leader. So that means that people are watching you. Congratulations again. Whether you want to be watched or if you don't want to be watched, they're watching you. So, you need to live in your leadership on and off the field, right? Inside and outside of the office. I'll use myself as an example because I know that I have these very big brands, these legacy brands that are attached to me, right? That I'm attached to, whether it be my 9-to-5 employer or even being affiliated with the Revolt Podcast Network. I know that my voice and my opinion holds a lot of weight. So I am extremely careful with the content I engage in on social media, with the comments that I leave in the shade room, with this and with that. And I am very mindful of the fact that I am a leader, whether if I want to be or not, and that people are watching me. So I'm using my powers for good, right? I'm not using my powers to sow discord or to be a part of any foolishness, but I'm using my power of leadership. Watch this. So as I am at the table, I'm invited to this table where a lot of people who look like me are not invited to. So you know what I do? I pull up chairs for the people who look like me, right? I pull up chairs for the people who are qualified for this industry, but because it's so competitive, they may not have gotten a shot. Right? So I am using my leadership abilities for good. So I want you all to begin to shift your mindset as a leader because that's what you are. And as you are climbing, I want you to continue to keep your hand back and lift others. As you're invited to tables, I'm going to challenge you to continue to invite other people in the room with you because your opportunity, your blessings are not just for you. You are blessed to be a blessing. You are blessed to open doors for others and to leave that door propped open. We're not in this space to be gatekeepers. We're not in this space to be a barrier for other people. So begin to shift your mindset as a leader. And y'all, I want to emphasize this last thing. So as you take L's in life, whether it be on this life journey, career journey, success journey, whatever, as you continue to take L's and face adversity, I want you to allow that thing to propel you into your next level, your next mission, your next vision, right? Because we're connected to our why, the thing that we wrote down a little bit earlier in the conversation, we should allow these moments to push us into our next level of success. The reason why people like Oprah Winfrey is a media mogul, a media powerhouse, is because she was undervalued at her 9-to-5 news anchor job. So she stepped out on faith. She took that L, stepped out on faith, and now her life mission is to create valuable content for the people. Even taking it even further, you know, here on the Success Playbook Podcast, I've had various people in the sports industry talk about some of the L's they've taken and how it, again, pushed them into a new purpose. I had Joy Taylor come on here and she talked about how she was denied a promotion. So that kind of pushed her into, now she's on Fox and she's just thriving. And she has multiple shows out right now. She has one with Taylor Rooks. She's just living her best life. But if it wasn't for her being denied that promotion, she would probably still be at that point that she left. She would have probably still been there. I even had Jamel Hill come on, and she talked about her departure from ESPN and how that was one of the best decisions she ever made in her life, because afterward, she felt such a sense of relief. She felt so free. But it started as what could have been perceived as an L. But in reality, it was the best decision she could have ever made. So I want you all to begin to, as you're taking these losses, as you're taking adversity, I'm going to challenge you to allow that thing to push you into your next level of purpose. The easiest way to do that is you need to reevaluate the people that you have around you. Whether they be mentors, whether they be sponsors. I call it my board of directors, right? It's a tribe of individuals that you have that are committed to your success, and it's no jealousy, it's no competition. They just love you and they want to see you thrive. So these are the people who pour into you most when you're taking L's or when you're facing an adverse moment. These are the types of people where they don't panic when you tell them, hey, yo, I just experienced XYZ. They don't panic. They pray for you, right? They don't panic. They push you. They don't panic. They propel you, right? So one very practical piece of advice in reevaluating how you process and perceive taking L's is ensuring that your board of directors, you have that solid group around you and that they're on board for your success and that they're the type of people that you can run to when you start to experience these things so that they can pour into you. All right, y'all, that wraps up today's show. If you can't tell, that is something I'm extremely passionate about. Thank you to State Farm for sponsoring this segment about career navigation and life success. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
This is ludicrous.
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.